You're listening to the Snipers Club NRL Finals Preview show, and I'm your host, the Sniper. So this is the best time of the year, guys, and we absolutely can't wait for the finals to get started. And we've got some excellent matchups to look forward to this weekend. So what we're going to do is have a quick look ahead towards the finals. We'll have a look at the format as well, how it works, and come up with a few thoughts and angles for you guys. But first of all, we've just released our figures for August, which were excellent again. And we had great profits for every single month except one this season, which was roughly around the origin period when there were lots of team changes. And we were marginally down that month. So following our record month in July, where we had a massive ROI of 79% for 80.4 units profit, which came to £4,020, and that's at £50 per unit. We came in for August with an ROI of 36% for 56.1 units profit, which comes to a massive £2,805 profit. So if you've been with us for the last 2 months and followed our staking plan, you'd be up by an absolutely massive £6,825. So we look forward to the finals now, and you can join us for the month ahead by joining at one of the links on our Twitter page, which is @SnipersClubNRL. There are 2 ways to join. One is through the WOP link, and you get 10% off on there if you sign up using the code PEACHJUICE, or you can join up through the Telegram link on there as well, which is t.me/SnipersClubOnlineBot. But we'd suggest using the WOP because there's a free 10% on there for you guys. Right, let's start with the finals format for any newbies or foreign fans that we've got that aren't familiar with how things work. Ever since the ARLC got rid of the McIntyre system in 2012, the NRL's had the same format. In the first week, the 8 teams are split into 2 separate groups, those who finished in the top 4 and those who finished in 5th to 8th positions. The top 4 sides engage in qualifying finals, where the minor premiers Penrith face the 4th place team, that's the Warriors, and Penrith play them at home. Meanwhile, the other final features the teams that came 2nd and 3rd, and that'll see the Broncos take on the Storm. The winners of these 2 matches, which are played on Friday and Saturday, advance to the preliminary finals in week 3 and earn a week off. So, if the Warriors can somehow beat Penrith, that would be absolutely massive for them. They'd be able to rest all their stars again, and Penrith would have to go through the more arduous route of playing extra games. Meanwhile, the losers will get a second chance to qualify due to finishing in the top 4. So, that'll be between Broncos, Storm, Penrith and the Warriors. They'll get a second bite of the cherry. On the other side of the draw this weekend, the 5th place team Newcastle play Canberra at home, and the Sharks play the Roosters. This side of the draw is knockout rugby, with the winners progressing and the losers being knocked out. The winners of these 2 matches will go on to face the losers of the qualifying finals away from home in week 2. And these 2 games are basically semi-finals to decide which team will advance to the preliminary final stage, where they'll join the winners of the qualifying finals back in week 1. The second last round of finals then take place with the 2 preliminary finals played in week 3. The winners of these prelim finals then meet in the grand final on the first Sunday in October, hoping to be crowned NRL champions. Guys, we'll post this in a simpler graphic format for you on our Discord and or Telegram so that you can see it visually rather than have to try and dissect all the words. So let's have a look back at the last 2 years' finals. So last year, the top try scorer was Brian Toto with 5 tries. Penrith won 27-8 against the Eels. The Storm won 20 against 28 against the Raiders. The Storm lost by 20 points to 28 against the Raiders. The Sharks lost 30-32 to the Cowboys. The Roosters lost 14-30 to the Rabbitohs. Parramatta won 40-4 against the Raiders. The Sharks lost 12-38 against the Rabbitohs. The Cowboys lost 20-24 against Para. Penrith beat the Rabbitohs 32-12. Penrith then beat the Eels 28-12 in the grand final. Out of the 9 games from last year, 8 of them went overs. Penrith won all their games by 13 points or more. And we only had 3 out of 9 games decided by a margin of 1-12. And To'o scored in every game that he played last year. In game 1, there was a Nathan Cleary field goal. In game 3, Val Holmes scored 2 field goals. That's probably the game that ended in a draw. And then there were no further field goals or no 40-20s. So we had one draw in there, which was the Cowboys against the Sharks in that famous blockbuster game from last year. In 2021, the top try scorer was Cody Walker with 4 tries. And top point scorers were Garrick and Pappenhausen with 30 points. The Storm beat Manly by 40 points to 12. The Roosters beat the Titans by 25 points to 24. The Rabbitohs beat Penrith 16-10. The Eels beat the Knights 28-20. The Sea Eagles beat the Roosters 42-6. Penrith beat the Eels by 8 points to 6. The Rabbitohs beat Manly 36-16. Penrith beat the Storm by 10 points to 6. And then Penrith won the grand final against South by 2 points with a score of 14-12. We had a field goal by Pappenhausen in game 1, and we also had a 40-20 in that game. In game 2, we had a field goal by Cody Walker. Brandon Smith famously hit a 20-40 against the Panthers in a prelim final. Stephen Crichton scored the first try in 2 matches and scored three tries in total. And Ryan Pappenhausen also played really well, scoring lots with 3 tries in total. The last game to go to Golden Point in the finals was the Sharks against the Cowboys last year, and none of the other matches in the last 2 years have gone to Golden Point. Out of the 9 games played in 2021, 5 went overs and 4 went unders. This may be because it was COVID affected, and that might prove to be what was the difference there. There were 3 margins of 1-12, and the home team won by 13 plus on 3 occasions. Penrith didn't win by 13 plus at all in the 2021 finals. So let's have a quick look at the teams now, guys, and what our thoughts are on them. So the Broncos, they're the pretenders to the throne. They're strong in all areas. They've got many Origin reps now. They've got electric pace and game management, and this could be their year. They're not as sound as Penrith defensively though. The Storm, questions here are: how fit is Pappenhausen? Will he take over from Meaney? They can look defensively poor at times, and young Tonomapea is a weak point in defence, with Will Warbrick inexperienced on the wing. The Panthers, they're the team to beat. They're at full strength. Their potential weakness is Luai, but Cogger's been playing pretty well. But will these better teams start to find gaps in Cogger's play and be able to expose him on the Panthers' left side? The Warriors, the risks here are Rocco Berry's been playing poorly, particularly last week, and he's a rugby union convert. Recent form for the Warriors has been on the decline. They really struggled against the Titans, made heavy weather of it, and looked poor in defence. They also have a lack of depth in their team. What happens if Sean Johnson or Fanua Blake go down, or even Tohu Harris? Very few of their players have got big game experience, such as Origin. And Nickel Klokstad isn't a massive attacking threat here. But they do have a very strong right edge attack, but teams are starting to become more aware of this and are closing down and rushing their players much more quickly. So we'll need to look for better play the balls and more overloads on their left to try and progress through the finals there. And Tamare Martin will be the key in that. Can he sharpen up? Can he find his form really quickly, having been out so long? And for the Sharks, they're the next team. Will Kennedy make it? They're flaky. Their forwards handle the ball really poorly. Mulitalo has lapses in concentration, Nico's been out of form. They've got a very poor record against the top 8 sides, and many of them also lack big game experience. The Knights, 9 consecutive wins, the in-form team, serious strike weapons on both flanks, conceding very few points. They're on a roll, their home matches have been sellouts, but the question is, how bad is Ponga's shoulder? And the NRL physio thinks it's okay. Moving on to Canberra, Seb Chris is out now, and they have no recognised fullback, so Jordan Rapinar's been filling in there, but he's not a fullback, he's a winger, and that's his best position. Papali'i's also out for the season, and they're very depleted with lack of points on the flanks. And they're also very poor in second halves, but the benefit is they're fighters, and you saw them really serve it up to the Broncos a couple of weeks ago. Last team on the list out of the 8 are the Roosters. So they've got Sam Walker back now, who's been very creative and looking good. He scored a try last week. Warrior Hargreaves is out, which we think is actually a good thing because there's less risk of thuggery and bins, and they can't afford to have sin bins similar to what they had against the Rabbitohs last year. The benefits are they'll have a siege mentality. They come in as underdogs. They've got very good big game experience, but how fit is Manu? They've rushed him back from an injury, and he's injury prone anyway. So will he last? And will he be playing under any kind of injections or anything? The answer to that is probably. And they've had poor form until recently, and now Daniel Tupou, one of their main attacking threats, is also out. So just to summarise, guys, many of you know that a few of us on our members group have had decent futures bets on the Knights to win. Kalen Ponga and many others are in career best form. They've got 9 straight wins, and the draw might well open up for them here. Should the Storm beat the Broncos and the Knights beat Canberra this weekend, then they'll switch to the other side of the draw. That's the side of the draw where the Broncos are. The Knights are the real deal this season, and then what would probably happen is they'd most likely play the Warriors, and the Knights are in better form than the Warriors. Should they beat the Warriors, they'd then go across to the other side of the comp, and earlier this year when they weren't playing anywhere nearly as well as they are now, they almost beat the Broncos. So should that open up, should they face the Broncos and beat them, this could end up being a golden highway to the grand final for our selection, the Knights. And then we'll potentially look at having a hedge there if they make it to bank some profit, and we'll obviously have to keep an eye on who the other side of the draw throws up and who makes it to the finals. Realistically though, guys, the main contenders are Penrith and the Broncos. They've got 2 bites at the cherry should anything go wrong. But our smoky for this season is the Newcastle Knights. Who'd have thought it, having played so poorly early in the season? And guys, if you like the service we provide and you've been enjoying the weekly free tips and making money on them, I think we're something like 7 out of 8 or 8 out of 9 over the last few weeks, then do have a look at joining us for the finals, and we'll also be covering the Pacific Championships, which will take us through to the end of November. So the joining links are at Snipers Club NRL on our Twitter page. Please like, share, and help our channel grow.